Hello everyone, my name is Paolo Gentile and I'm a PhD student in political science at Carleton University. First off, I'd like to thank York University and the HUGSA for organizing this conference. In these unprecedented times, it's a privilege to be able to gather, albeit remotely, and share our work with one another. It's easy to take conferences like these for granted, and it's great to be back talking about the things that we love. But for today, I want to take you all on a journey into our potential future. What will the future look like? An even better question is, what will we look like? In generations past, we could have said, well, probably about the same as we did before with a few styling changes, social changes, and technological innovations. But unlike generations past, the technological innovations that we're going to see have the capacity to potentially change what it means to be human. This innovation that I'm speaking of is the technological singularity. The singularity can mean two things. First, the singularity can denote the rise of hyper-intelligent artificial intelligence. These AI can be self-thinking and conscious and do the same things that we do, but at a much faster speed and precision. This scenario can be a frightening prospect for sure, because what happens if these AI, because they're self-conscious, decide that we humans stand in the way of their goals? What sounds like the plot from a dystopian sci-fi film could be a reality in the next 50 years. In relation to the scenario, others have said that we should become the machine, to meld our minds and bodies with technology. For Ray Kurzweil, doing so could allow us to think faster, be more creative, escape death, and uncover the mysteries of the universe. But I ask, at what cost? The apparent flaw in this line of thinking rests in a conception, or shall we say misconception, of what it means to be and the tools that we employ to discover truth. In the view of thinkers like Kurzweil, technology solely reflects the will of the user. We can use technology to reveal the secrets of existence and bring them to light. What if this is not the case, and technology does have an influence on how we see ourselves and how we understand the reality around us? What if, instead of being our salvation, the technological singularity could permanently alter our conception of ourselves and force us to view the world around us from a purely technological lens? In the following presentation, I'll argue that the singularity will permanently force us to see ourselves, the world around us, and others as resources for consumption and production. The human body will be a resource to be harnessed for the furtherance of technology and production. Human worth will be limited by the confines of production and self-mastery. We're only as good as our bodies allow us to produce. Our society will be enframed within a notion of endless self-mastery with no endpoint. Our world around us will be nothing but a reserve for technology to consume into its machinations of production and self-replication. We'll be locked into seeing the world around us solely as a means for technical expansion. Sounds great, doesn't it? But what can we do? Are we doomed? If we wish to understand if we can control the rapid onset of technology, we must start by trying to attempt to understand technology in its essence. What is technology in its essence, and how will it change how we associate with ourselves, others, and the world around us? My thinking is highly influenced by Martin Heidegger's question concerning technology. For Heidegger, the only way we can resist succumbing to the cheap look of things, mere appearances, is by searching for the essence that animate objects around us. So when we are trying to ascertain the essence of objects around us, we must realize that the essence of an object is not itself an object that can be encountered in our everyday interactions. So in modernity, when we think of technology, we think solely of the interesting and often deadly devices we have, right? The latest release of the iPhone with its new and improved features, Tesla and the ability of its cars to drive themselves. But we also think of the innovation of devices of war that have the capacity to eliminate people en masse. All of these are ways that we see technology. In sum, we think of what technology can provide us, that is, to see technology as a means to an end. Tied to seeing technology as a means, modernity also sees technology as neutral. Technology is an instrument that reflects the beings that use it. The way that computers have been used reflects the underlying reasoning that led to their creation, as George Grant states. Modernity's faith in quantifying and understanding the world has subjected humanity to the influence of technology. We are affected by the very things that we have created. Modern computers and modern technology are leading us towards an alteration of what it means to be human. That is, to think freely about what it means to be and what it means to exist. As moderns, we have no standards by which to judge particular techniques, except standards welling up in our faith in technical expansion. This is from George Grant's essay in Technology and Empire. To the modern technophile, with their blind faith in technology, we are nothing but resources. In their purely materialist view of the world, we are nothing but machines. We are resource-creating machines that can be enhanced and harnessed. The very means we use to understand the world are technical in their essence. Modern technology is a reflection of our historical dislocation from an understanding of being. It is a historical destiny rooted in a misconception of what it means to be that now threatens to turn humanity and nature into resources for consumption. At the heart of modernity, culminating in Nietzsche, is a desire to master nature and subject beings to calculability. Thus, technology implies having a control over beings through our ability to order them and structure them around an end goal. Cybernetics and AI and computing have the potential to manifestly alter what it means to be human and the relationship we have with other beings by forcing us to see the world solely from a lens of mastery and calculability. Under the modern understanding of technology, we begin to view entities around us solely as resources to be measured, ordered, controlled towards an end. This understanding reveals the essence of technology to us. Technology as we understand it is now all about order and calculability. For example, when we cut down a rainforest, we are not seeing the trees or the rainforest that matter as anything other than a collection of resources to be extracted and used for something else. We see all of those beings solely as resources to be ordered, measured, and controlled towards an objective or end. For example, for producing logs. These beings are reduced to nothing more than the material benefit they can bring to the furtherance of our technological capacities and production. We do not care about the environment we are destroying in the process. It is all worth it so that we can enhance our productive capabilities. Therefore, we reveal the essence of technology, that being production and order, while obfuscating other ways of being that exist outside of these confines. Our approach to technology leaves us in what is called a state of standing reserve. This is a constant ordering that inhibits our ability to think outside the parameters of this ordering. We'll never have access to other ways of being because we are limited to a certain way of thinking. We will see others and ourselves solely as resources. Being in many ways is like a vapor. Once we have a grasp of it, it flutters away into the ether. What remains in our hands is a certain way of being at a time. The issue with technology is that it will force us into a singular way of being that, while excluding other possibilities of existence. With our technical approach to understanding being, a singular way of being dominates us. We become unfree and chained to an technical understanding of the world around us. The key to unlocking these shackles is interrogating our relationship with technology, and that is to re-embrace authentic thinking. So back to the singularity and looping it back into this understanding of technology, which singularity is in its essence an understanding of technology. Ray Kurzweil sees the singularity as a way of transcending the limits of our biological bodies and brains. We will gain power over our fates. In addition, the singularity is measured by the rate of historical innovations, and it follows an exponential trajectory. Following Thomas Kuhn's notions of paradigm shifts, Kurzweil illustrates that the rate of technological paradigm shifts continues to double. Every time we experience a paradigm shift in technology, we will get a snowball effect. The next paradigm shift will happen in half the time. Our next paradigm shift will be the singularity. We will be integrating our minds with machines. So the importance of interrogating this problem now should be of our primary concern, definitely. We can start to understand this by interrogating a key passage in A Question Concerning Technology by Martin Heidegger. In this, he has a passage about the essence of the Rhine River and hydroelectric plant. I'll read the passage and we'll link it back to the singularity. The hydroelectric plant is set into the current of the Rhine. It sets the Rhine to supplying hydraulic pressure. Rather, the river is dammed up into the hydroelectric plant. What the river is now, namely a water power supplier, derives from the essence of the power station. So, to deconstruct this a bit. The essence of the Rhine River changes with the imposition of a hydroelectric plant on its being. Rather than being a beautiful river that is a habitat to a plethora of beings, it is now being harnessed by the hydroelectric plant. As the hydroelectric plant pulls water into its turbines, the Rhine itself is changed. It's no longer just a river, it's now a resource to be harnessed. It is no longer just a beautiful habitat and that is a giver of life to flora and fauna that is ever changing. It's a stream of water to be harnessed to be used for electrical production. The human body, with the imposition of machines, follows the same relationship and idea. What was once a vessel to freely think about being becomes a mere resource. It is a resource to master. As has been shown, modern technology is a mode of organization. Moreover, it is linked to how we think and discuss and relate to being. The singularity is the human equivalent of the hydroelectric plant on the Rhine River. If we look at the body as a resource, which enfrainment does, the melding of man and machine is in its very essence an attempt to make what was less useful, the unaltered form of the human, into a productive force, to produce more, to be more, and to abandon the natural for the modified. The singularity enframes us in a certain way of thinking. That is fundamental. It will permanently alter our capacity to think by invasively modifying our capacity to think. Technology is not neutral, as George Grant has massively stated. By integrating technology into our minds and bodies, it will order us in a way that is fundamental and inescapable. Our very understanding of the world will be altered by the presence of technology in our person. Every attempt we make to understand the world will be modified by the presence of technology in our bodies and minds. In sum, subjecting our capacity to think within the ordering that technology forces upon us will limit the horizons of our thought to the technical. The singularity will permanently close humans off from free thinking. Our ability to freely think and choose a way of being that is reconcilable with ourselves. If we reflect back on our discussion, being is vaporous. Understanding being relies on a specific condition rooted in time and history that can allow us to have meaningful access to what it means to be in our current historical situation. The issue is that our current historical situation, culminating in the singularity, will permanently lock us into a singular way of being by melding our minds with technology. The threat of the singularity rests in permanently altering our capacity to embrace being in our own specific way. Integrating our minds with machines will then subject our minds permanently to the strict parameters of technical thinking. One may ask, what if our minds retain autonomy? Both Ray Kurzweil and David Chalmers assert that the singularity will allow us to be even more individualistic and we'll be able to embrace being in a way that is greater than we could now. But as I've shown, technology in its essence doesn't line up to that. We use technology, but it still orders us. So what Chalmers and Ray Kurzweil show is that they are stuck within a means to an end understanding of technology and miss the important aspect of technology and what it is in its essence. So to conclude, as dark as our future seems, there is hope. There's no need to become nihilistic just yet. All we need to do is change our relationship with technology. We need not abandon civilization and innovation and become primitivists. All we need to do is see that technology is neither value neutral, nor is it a singular way of being. Technology is not solely a means to an end that reflects the will of the beings that use them, but changes the beings that use them if they are not aware of the essence that also animates technology. This whole presentation has not been a call for us to abandon technology, quite the opposite. It's been a call for us to rethink our relationship with technology. As this pandemic has shown, technological innovations in medicine have helped us mitigate catastrophe. By addressing the essence that animates technology, we can still preserve ourselves despite the influence technology can have on us. In essence, we can embrace technology and still remain authentic individuals that can see the world beyond a technical lens. If we can do this, if we can address the essence underlying technology, we can embrace different ways of being and share them with each other. We can live in a lively and rich world where we can share our values and each grow from each other's differences. We can add to our own understanding of the world by interacting with others. The future is in our hands. All we have to do is think about how we think. Thank you.